Lake Forest is a unique community. It was built by wealthy families that were trying to have a getaway from Chicago. And we were looking to relocate both my business and our home. And with Paul's interior design office, we decided to kind of look at it as a combination of a workplace and a home place. I think the first thing was when we got here, we both had a gut reaction that, wow, this is special. And we got into these buildings and saw the potential, and we fell in love. Historically, there were some church camps that came up here, and then people started realizing how great it was, and then the Chicago fire hit, and a lot of the wealthy folks were looking to get out of Chicago because it was a mess. This was the entry complex to a gentleman's farm, and it was meant to live a romantic farm life owned by a wealthy farmer. This was A. Watson and Elsa Armour. They visited Marshall Field's gentleman's farm in upstate New York, and they were so impressed with what they had as an experience there, they wanted to do that closer to Chicago. And when it came to the residential and the kind of street statement for what the Armours wanted to show the public as they drove by their farm, they hired David Adler. And he was, at the time, he and Howard Van Doren Shaw and a few other East Coast architects were building these big houses. And Adler built what was called the entry complex, which is where we are, which was 2 matching gatehouses and a motor house. This was intended to be an English-style Georgian gentleman's farm entry. Hence the scale of the brick columns, the low pitch of the roofs, the materials, the old brick, the stone sills, the slate roofs, the copper. Anybody that has an old house knows that they're just the caretaker until the next one. And when being in a place like this, it has a life of its own too that you have to respect, and you have to, it's a senior citizen, it needs to be tended. I find that because this is our company's garden, it's our lunchroom, our break room. I mean, we're all using it like a little oasis. That makes me feel like we've done our job. This building was built with much more function than I think maybe even Adler thought it could have. As one comes in off the road and down the Elm Alley, which we actually installed, referencing the old Elm Alley that isn't there anymore. We use disease-resistant elms, and they give a sense of proceeding. So when you turn south, it should be, for me, you know, like an aha moment because you've arrived. The gardens that flank the 50-foot square of paving are meant to be simple, and we had historic photographs from the family, so we knew that it originally was gravel. For me, the motor cart is all about honoring the buildings. Whenever we have company, we move all the cars out so you can see the buildings from top to bottom. But one of the things about converting the main garage space in the coach house as a design space is that I wanted to make sure that it worked for as many people as we needed to fit in there, which was a little less than a dozen. I think there's 9. Each one of the cubicles, the lattice trellising used to be the walls of a house that I had for herbs and vegetables at our garden center. When we bought the property, there were south-facing windows and no light to the north. It was nice to be able to historically put the doors back with the windows in the doors like Adler wanted them. I love that we're all in one space and we still have auxiliary space upstairs. At the northwest corner of the parking lot, we have an old iron gate that we reclaimed from a job in Kenilworth. Coming through the garden gate, meandering down, in essence, a green hallway. Like all of our gardens here, I like them to be good representations of beauty and horticulture for our climate. We wanted the garden to be blooming as quick as it could in the spring and last as long as it can into the winter. I like to view them much like a beautiful tapestry or an oriental rug. You know, the colors just weave and complement each other as you go through the look. Well, like I had said before, we compartmentalized the space so one could get lost in each room. Because the colors in the west borders when they're up are so vibrant and bold, I like having a little respite in between another experience. So between the shade garden and the west borders is the green room, and it's commanded by 4 giant European hornbeam cylinders that have been with me for almost 40 years. The folly in the middle is a composite of things that I purchased, inherited from other lives, and just assembled. The pool is a new construction. We actually added that the 3rd year that we were here. The pool itself is a traditional shape, obviously. It's a long rectangle. It's only 14 feet wide, but it's 48 feet long. And it's French gray plastered inside with the bluestone coping and Wisconsin quarry light stone around the edges. I love the contrast of, you know, the espaliered apple trees, which is a very traditional gardening technique, next to modern everyday furniture of this time period. The shade garden to me is it's the wildest garden that we have, and it's intended to make the visitor or the person traversing the path feel like a little kid. It's very tactile, it's very textural. It's most colorful in the spring before the shade canopy overhangs it from adjoining trees. And there's faux bois log rounds that work as stepping stones. I love the concept of trying to mimic Mother Nature in concrete and steel. I think that's a cool concept. And then we head to the south foundation of the coach house itself. That is the side of the house that looks most like a residential home. It has the front door with the over window and the side lights, and the traditional 2-story Georgian. As you head east towards the main road, the buffer between the east house and Waukegan Road is the orchard. It's an equivalent size space to all of the west garden area that we've developed on the other side. I wanted people to feel like they could get kind of lost in the natural setting. We inherited a couple of wonderful old peach trees. We have over 10,000 daffodils planted in the lawn and in the beds under the roses. We're always using our garden as a laboratory and kind of an R&D center. I think that living with architecture is one of the great blessings one can have. It makes you think differently about all other architecture. Living in this environment that is so stunningly beautiful and simple, I think I do higher quality work because I know the difference and I live with the difference. This place has taught me to slow down and look.